gentlemen, the Uncutt Podcast.
There you are.
What do you mean there I am?
The intro was all shoddy for me on my side for some reason.
Oh, well, at least I can give you some confidence on my end. It was clear as a bell.
Just don't do why? So before everybody gets into this, yes, yeah, do your thing.
Did I freeze?
You're back. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. So Dad's not here this week. He's sick. So get well, Papa Bear. He's not here this week. So it's going to be the inmates running the asylum. And how the hell are you, Robbie? I haven't seen you in a week, 2 weeks. How are you?
Well, dude, I feel a little filthy right now. I have this condom catheter on because I've been doing a podcast this is the third one in 3 days. I feel like I've been at this desk and I got to relieve myself every now and then.
God, see, this is why I call you Rain Man sometimes, is you just have these moments. And this is one of these moments. Like, I don't even know where to go with that.
But no, I know. I thought I'd throw a curveball at you, dude. But no, I'm glad to be back here. I miss Nick, but it's good to be back with you. Last time we were together on this platform, dude, we were interviewing Sam Houston together, and that was a cool interview.
Yeah, and this week is going to be a slightly different one. It's going to be kind of a curveball at you just because I know more of the research this week than you do. Just because this week's actually a good friend of both of ours and a friend that we have a lot of personal friends in common with that you didn't know about until recently. Yeah. Our good buddy, the dude runs TikTok at this point. He runs Twitch. He's calling out McAfee with other people. And the dude's just kicking ass and taking names along the way. So our guest tonight, and I don't mean to cut off like our little short talk this quick because normally we bullshit a lot, but fuck it. Yeah. We got HeelKevin tonight. Fuck it. How are you, Kev? Bring him in.
Oh yeah, sorry, buddy. Yeah, don't tell Nick. There he is.
This is why we normally have Dad here to just guide everything.
I was like, "Where's he at?" Oh yeah.
You should probably wait till I'm on screen to ask me a question.
Exactly. I know, right? How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I've actually had to take a few days off from live streaming and stuff. There's really been no TikTok content. I lost my voice. I'm not sick at all. I just lost my voice. So tonight is the first night I'm actually able to make some content, and everything just lined up perfectly for me to be here.
Yeah, I've noticed the voice being in and out. I've been watching a lot of your shows.
It's still really raspy.
It's raspy, but you can tell that you're on the comeback, at least from what you were. So like, before we start going into kind of where you are now, let's go back to where you were in the beginning. Of course, you did a little bit of independent wrestling back in the day. Mm-hmm. Maybe a lot of your Twitch following might not know that, or some other people might not know about that. Why don't you dabble a little bit and let us know some of that?
So it started when I was 14, about to be 15. So I always just say 15. I was like a month shy of 15. And my cousin, he was friends with this guy named Ricky. And we were over their house one night. And Ricky's dad worked the independent scene here in Georgia. And it just got brought up in conversation that I wanted to start wrestling, or I wanted to train how to wrestle. And so it's Little Ricky and Big Ricky. Little Ricky went to school with us. Big Ricky was the independent wrestler. Big Ricky comes up to me and he goes, "So you want to wrestle?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I'd love to." He was like, "All right, there's a show about 15 minutes from here on Friday. You're going." I was like, "Say less." So I went. I got to see Big Ricky do like a little run in. He was under a mask. It was pretty cool. It was my first real experience behind the curtain, because I saw Big Ricky talking to the promoter and everything that was going to happen that night. So it was the first time I actually got to see personally behind the fourth wall of everything, which was really cool. After the show, he introduced me to the owner. The owner told me when the next training session was. And from then until I graduated high school, I wrestled for a company called GWA, which is Georgia Wrestling Alliance. Had a lot of fun, ran weekly shows, got a lot of reps in. I knew it wasn't going to last long because I always knew I wanted to go to the military. Like that was always going to happen. It was something that I had to do. So I knew when I graduated high school, it was going to come to a stop or at least get put on pause, which it eventually did. But for those 3 years, I just had a lot of fun. I got to wrestle a lot of really cool people, got to make a lot of really good friends. But that's kind of how it all started, in the middle of a flea market in Waycross, Georgia, with no air conditioning, hot as fuck. But I loved every minute of it, man.
Yeah. Well, wrestling, your wrestling career started there, but wrestling started somewhere earlier than that for you. Can you take us back to your first memories of being a wrestling fan?
Yeah. So I really don't have any. I don't have any like whenever I talk to people about being wrestling fans and when they got hooked into wrestling, I always ask them, what was the moment that hooked you? I don't have one of those moments. From the time I was born, for as long as I can remember, wrestling was just something we watched. Everybody in the family watched it. Everybody in the family enjoyed it. There was really no one moment in time where it was like, this is awesome. I need to see more of it. What's going on here? It was just, oh, it's Monday. We're watching wrestling. Cool. Oh, it's when SmackDown was on Thursdays, when ECW was on Tuesdays, when SmackDown went to Fridays and all these other days of the week. But come to find out, after I was like hooked into wrestling, my mom just casually told me one day, she's like, yeah, your uncle used to work for that company. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, you've got an uncle who is married into our family, so he's only my uncle by marriage. And at this time, I haven't met him yet. At this time, I have no idea who he is, nothing like that. But only by marriage, my uncle is WWE Hall of Famer George Animal Steel, or was before he passed away. And that's kind of why my family always enjoyed wrestling, is they would always want to see what he was doing. And then when he transitioned out, they just kept watching it.
Yeah. Hey, can I just share something about your uncle, dude? George the Animal Steel. I remember, back when I was a kid, George the Animal Steel he was the spectacle, the wild man, but eating the turnbuckles, biting people,
green tongue.
And, he was kind of like, even back then, I knew he was a novelty kind of wrestler, but I swear to God, and I just told somebody this recently, you go back and you watch WrestleMania 2, and I think it was a Saturday night main event right before WrestleMania 2. I'm sorry, before WrestleMania 3. George the Animal Steel versus Savage at WrestleMania 2. And if you go back and watch that match, one of the most entertaining matches you could watch from that era, dude.
What's funny about that is my favorite match of his that I've ever watched. It was a Savage match, but it wasn't that one. It was in 1989, I believe, lumberjack match with Macho Man Randy Savage. It's my favorite match I've ever watched him wrestle. And obviously I was born in 91. I didn't watch it live, but going back and finding the film and watching the match, I always try to watch as many of his matches as I could, just to see who he was, because I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it and say, oh, we were best friends. We hung out all the time. I seen him maybe 3 times in my entire life.
Yeah.
And like I said, he was in our family by marriage. It's not like he was my mom's brother who was around all the time or anything like that. So I always try to watch his matches. And out of everything that I've watched, my favorite match of his is him versus Savage in the lumberjack match.
Cool. I'm going to go back and try to find that one.
Yeah. So as we talk a little bit about the past, let's bring up somebody that we all three know from the past and is a friend of the show, Mr.
Please don't.
Moter.
Please don't.
No, I'm curious to know about this, because I'm curious to know how, one, you got to know Zach. 2, how you ended up partnering in with Real Pro Wrestling in Florida.
Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a long answer.
Floor is yours.
All right, so if I'm going to tell you how I met Zach and how that came to be, I got to tell you about another really good friend of mine. Maybe you've heard of him. His name is Garrett Bischoff.
I think so.
Yeah. So I run an interview show where I interview professional wrestlers. And I ended up interviewing Garrett Bischoff. And Garrett and I, we are cut from the same cloth. We are the same person. We're both, we enjoy the same things. We have the same viewpoints. Garrett is just a very genuine person. After that interview, we use StreamYard as well. After the interview ended, we must have stayed in the chat room for another hour or two, just talking and getting to know each other. He ends up giving me his phone number. I give him my number. We stay in contact, and I see a flyer on Instagram for a show that he's going to be at. Promotion that I'm not going to name because fuck those guys. Hey, it is what it is.
They don't call him HeelKevin for nothing.
Well, I mean, when you make your name on disrespecting your female talent, and whenever a female speaks up about something, you say she needs a blank in her mouth, you're a piece of shit. So anyway,
yeah.
But at the time, I knew nothing about that. So anyway, I screenshot the image. I texted to Garrett. I'm like, hey, man, I'll see you at the show. He goes, no way, you're coming? I was like, yeah, absolutely. It's about 4 hours away from where we live. So we go to the show, hang out with Garrett, get to meet him. And at the same time, as you guys know, every time as a podcaster or as somebody who does social media, whenever you go to an indie event, you're scoping for people you want to interview. You're scoping for people you want to get to know. So I'm sitting in the front row, and all of a sudden, the show's been okay. There were two really bright, shining stars on the show. I got to watch Kelsey Reagan versus Red Velvet. Red Velvet, who is now contracted with AEW. Kelsey Reagan, who is absolutely destroying the independent scene. I watched them wrestle, had a fantastic show. And then everything else kind of died off until the main event. But I remember about a match later, this music hit. I was like, wow, that music sounds really, really cool. And then out comes this demonic Reverend character who I now know to be Rob Risen. And I think, okay, it's just going to be him. And then the music changed and it got heavier and it got kind of like leaned in like, okay, what's about to happen now? What's going on now? And through the curtain comes a 6'5". That thing, that fucking mask, that thing comes through the curtain. Big cloud of smoke comes out of the mask, and just everything about this person just drew me in right away. His presence, his character, the way he commanded the room, everything about this person. And I'm like, I need to know who the fuck that is. So I watched the match, phenomenal match. Rob Risen and Zach Monstar are a tag team known as Satanic Panic, or at least they were. So watch the match, great match, had a great time. Comes to the intermission. Now we're getting up and we're introducing people. I'm handing out business cards. I'm approaching people about being on the podcast. And I had told my wife during the match that I really wanted to talk to those two. They had the longest line for their merch out of any other wrestler there. And there were former TV guys there. There were big names there. There were people who have signed major contracts there. Zach and Risen. And at the time, this is before Risen was ever on AEW. They had the longest line out of anybody there. And I'm one of those guys who I don't want to be disrespectful. So if I know I'm going up there to talk to you and I'm going to be there for a minute, I don't want to cut off people who are trying to get their autographs, people trying to get their pictures. I don't want to interrupt conversations. Plus, the guy is like 6'5" and looks like he wants to steal my goddamn lunch money. So little hesitant to talk to him to begin with. But my wife is kind of like nudging me. She's like, just go fucking talk to him. Go say something. I'm like, fine, I'm going to. So I approached Ryzen because he's smaller than Zach and less intimidating. Not really. He was just on the end of the table that I was at. I introduced myself, shake his hand, tell him I want to be on the podcast. They agreed to it. Got an autograph for my son. And from that moment, no, I really didn't hear anything from Zach. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but until you are actually friends with Zach, he's a very hard person to get a hold of.
Yep.
He is very, very, he's an elusive fucking creature. He really is. He's a Sam Squanch. He's a man bear pig. He's everything. And he's so elusive. But he ends up opening up my Facebook message, tells me he wants to do the interview. We become friends. We do the interview. And once again, after the interview is over, we must have sat in there for 4 hours just talking about everything, our childhoods, the way we grew up, life experiences, and we really got to know each other. From that day, there has not been a single day that goes by where I haven't talked to Zach. Whether it be a text, whether it be a Facebook message, whether it be a phone call, we talk every single day. And if not every day, every other day. So that's how Zach and I kind of became friends. Fast forwarding to how I got involved with Real Pro. Like I said, Zach and I are talking every day. We're becoming friends. We went to a few more shows at that same promotion. Fuck those guys. To see my friends and stuff. And Zach and I were getting closer. We're hanging out more. And we're just getting to know each other. So I'm at work one day and Zach calls me. And he goes, hey, man. So Real Pro's coming back. And I was like, okay. He's like, and I really, really need your help. Well, let me back up just one sec. I made the comment to Zach very early in our friendship that if he ever needed anything, whether it be commentary, whether it be security, whether it be anything, just let me know and I'll take care of it. So that conversation happened. Now fast forward. Zach calls me one day and he goes, I need your help. I was like, what's up? He's like, the ring announcer we have, we want to make him the general manager. And then we don't have a ring announcer. I was like, Zach, are you asking me to be a ring announcer? He's like, yeah. I was like, Zach, are you really going to give me an open microphone in front of a bunch of people? He said, yeah. I was like, do you understand what you're asking me to do? He said, yeah. I was like, all right, fucking done. And it's been off to the races from there. I've been with Real Pro for almost 2 years now. I've announced in bars. I've announced at Comic-Con events. We now have a permanent home in the Crown Plaza Hotel in Fort Myers, Florida. And it's been one hell of a ride. Starting out as ring announcer. Now I'm going to be a full-fledged commentator. Not sure what that means for ring announcing. I help out with the creative process from now and then. Nothing major, just Zach likes to get my input on things. And that's kind of where we're at.
That's pretty fucking cool, man. So
I told you it was going to be a long answer.
No, man, that was a great answer though. So ring announcing, being a wrestling fan, and I can think back of being a wrestling fan, Matt. I'm sure you can too. And I wanted to be a manager, I definitely wanted to be a wrestler at one point in time. Maybe a booker, maybe a Vince McMahon type dude. Being a ring announcer, where do you get your motivation for that? I mean, like where do you draw from when you do your craft?
So I always approach a situation whenever I'm ring announcing, because it's not just announcing the wrestlers. It's interacting with the crowd before the doors open.
Yeah.
It's getting them hyped up for the show before the first match. It's holding their attention through the intermission. It's giving them a reason to want to come back after the show is done, making sure you let them know where you're going to be, when you're going to be there, where they can find you, and
You're
all
like
that other stuff.
You're like the PR person. You're like the DJ. You're like
Essentially, yes.
the live host.
But whenever I pick up that microphone, I always think to myself, if I'm sitting in that seat, what do I need to hear for me to want to come back? What do I need to hear this person say for me to give a shit? Because if you're coming to an independent show for the first time, you don't know any of the wrestlers, you're not friends with anybody, you just stumbled across a flyer and now you're here because you had nothing else better to do on a Saturday night, and fuck it, why not? That ring announcer is the first person you're going to have an interaction with. I need to tell you about these wrestlers. I need to make sure you know who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. I need you to understand why this match is important, why this match is taking place. Everybody's job is to tell the story, not just the wrestlers. The wrestlers are the focal point, absolutely 100%. But if you look back at the greatest matches of all time, the commentators told a story. The ring announcer told a story. The wrestlers told a story. Everybody had a part in it. And it really starts with the first voice they hear, whether it be the ticket lady or ticket guy, the security or the ring announcer, whoever they have that first interaction with, that's really going to judge whether they're coming back or not. And I always wanted to be the reason somebody came back.
Awesome.
I love it. So now that we've talked about wrestling, we've talked about your announcing career, let's go into your podcasting and Twitch. Because to me personally, I don't know a lot of this.
Bless you.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
God bless you.
I got my dog in here and he's kicking up dog hair everywhere.
So Robbie doesn't know this, but you and I've met personally in real life.
We've
met. And I didn't know you had the podcast until probably 5-6 months later when Zach told me that he was going to be on Liquid and Butt Heavy. And I want to ask you a 2-part question on this. How long have you been doing the podcasting part? And 2, what made you transition into Twitch, and how did that keep building for you like that?
Okay, so I have had a YouTube channel, whether it be mine or whether it be a joint channel with a partner who I'm not going to mention because fuck that guy too.
Cheers.
You made the list.
Yeah. We've had some very choice conversations that I can't repeat on a public feed. But anyway, so I started doing belt reviews. Okay. So I was in a very dark time in my life. I was very depressed. I had got arrested on felony charges that I did not commit. I was falsely accused. I lost my job. It was a very dark time in my life. And a friend of mine who was doing YouTube videos of belt reviews, he wanted to kind of like cheer me up because we didn't always hate each other. At one point, we're actually really good friends, believe it or not.
Those are usually the people you hate most.
Yeah. He calls me up. I always tell everybody, if you really want to find out if you're friends with someone, either live with them or go into business with them. That'll test your friendship like no other. So anyway, and just to clarify, I did prove my innocence. I all the charges were dropped. Didn't even go to court. It got thrown out. So anyway, just going to clarify that. But anyway, so he calls me up and he goes, "Hey, why don't you help me out with some of these YouTube videos? I'll bring some belts over to your house. We'll shoot some videos, yada, 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 this, that, and the third." I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And from there, it was full steam ahead. We had great chemistry. We enjoyed each other's company. We played off each other very well. It's like we could do no wrong. And the audience started to grow. and the audience started to get more demanding. We were uploading 2 to 3 videos a week, because we would record a bunch of videos at one time, and my partner at the time, he would go home and he would upload them every so often. When that started happening and we started putting out regular content, the crowd started to grow. And the crowd was like, in the comment section, they're like, do you guys have an Instagram? Do you have a Facebook page? Do you have this? Do you have that? And I asked them one day, I was like, why don't we make a Facebook page? That way, when we're not making videos, we can still interact with people. So after talking about it for a while, we made the Facebook page. So now we're on YouTube and we're on Facebook. After having the Facebook page for a little while, I decided I was going to try my hand at interviewing wrestlers. And I was just going to go live in the Facebook group. So I started emailing a bunch of wrestlers. The first one to ever give me a shot. Huge shout out to my boy Dave Christ of OVE, former TNA World Tag Team Champions. But he gave me a shot, and he was my first ever interview. And I really, really enjoyed it. So that goes all the way back to, I want to say 4 years ago now. 4 years ago. Doing the interviews on Facebook led to doing the interviews on YouTube. Then I was doing them on YouTube and on Facebook. And then I always thought, I can make some money doing this. If I work hard enough, I can get monetized doing this. YouTube don't like to pay you shit. YouTube don't like to pay you shit. Like, YouTube is Tony Khan and I'm MJF. He ain't fucking paying me. Anyway.
That was good.
I mean, I had to.
Well done.
So I was trying to think of a way to not so much make it a living, but make some extra money, put some gas in the car, enough money to take the family out to dinner, just spending money. So I gave Twitch a shot, and holy shit, it wasn't immediate, but when it started picking up steam, it started picking up fucking steam. And then I started noticing I'm a full-time cop. I am a pretty high-ranking officer with this department. I'm looking at my check from being a police officer. I got my check from being a cop in one hand, and I got my Twitch payout in the other hand. And this number is about $700 more than this number. Now, of course, we're talking at the end of the month. Like, I would make X amount of dollars in 1 month being a police officer, and I made that same amount of dollars plus $700 more dollars just doing Twitch stuff. So I was like, you know what? Let me step away. Now, I love being a police officer. Absolutely love it. I'm still a state certified police officer. I just don't go to work. So I was like, let me devote a certain amount of time strictly to social media. If I can make it work, if this boat floats, I'll keep riding it into the sunset. If it doesn't work, I'll go back to work. No problem. But hey, I at least got to give it a shot. And I've been doing that now for almost 2 years. And I can truthfully sit here in front of you guys and say that out of the 24 months I've been doing this, there's been maybe 3 months where I made less than what I would have made as a cop.
That's
Man. So it's better to shoot on people than have to shoot at people.
It's not really that I make a lot of money on Twitch. It's just cops don't make shit.
Yeah. I know we're talking about wrestling and stuff here, but I got to ask the question, dude, what's the worst part of being a police officer? And the best part.
I'm glad you asked that because a lot of people have it mixed up. The worst part about being a police officer is even when you know somebody's lying to your face, you can't say that. When you know somebody's bullshitting you, you can't say, I know you're full of shit. You have to take everybody seriously, which there are some where you think they're lying and they end up telling the truth. So I understand it, but there are some that are just so far out there And you're like, you are literally wasting city time and resources, county time and resources for your bullshit.
Amber Heard.
Hey,
But the best part about it, and I say this all the time, everybody always thinks gunfights and car chases are the best thing in the world. As a police officer, I hope I never have to shoot my firearm because that means nobody's shooting at me.
Mhm.
If I don't have to shoot mine, that means I'm not getting shot at. And that's a pretty sweet deal for me.
Yeah.
The best part about being a cop, the first time you help a child, it'll change your fucking life.
I bet.
It'll change the way you look at things. When you have a child who has gone 3 days without a meal, or when you walk into a house and the parents are so high on dope that the baby has needle marks on its arm because it didn't know that wasn't a toy and nobody was sober enough to stop him, and you can remove that child from that situation and you can put him in a better home, you can put him in a better situation, you can give him a better shot at life. The first time you help a child, it'll change your fucking life. That is the absolute best part about being a cop. Fuck the money, fuck the car chases, fuck the gunfights, fuck the uniform and the badge and all that other shit. The first time you help a child, it will change your life.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for your service, dude.
Hey, thank you guys.
You know, so if you haven't kind of noticed, Nick normally has like a bullet point list he likes to follow with questions, and I kind of just freeball shit and throw shit. And I love the fact that you brought up inspiring others and helping others, like, you know, when you were an officer and things like that, because within your Twitch family, within everything that you do on TikTok, because, you know, you and I, we've kind of cornerstoned our own little section in our own way. And to see the amount of not just charity,
In our defense, we had one hell of a catalyst.
that's true. That's true. But you know, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But you know, whatever, pish posh. The amount, the one thing I'll say about your community, and Robbie can't speak on this as much as I will, but I will. Your community and Sledge's community are two communities that I have never seen anybody have. The amount of people that are legitimately invested and care and give back and raise money, and not just for your Twitch stream and things like that, but for like Red Cross and for, you know, the whole Alex's Lemonade stand and everything like that. And even the idea that you and I were bouncing off air before we came on here for a second, that's something that doesn't just speak volumes about yourself. It speaks volumes about your character and your team. So how do you keep such a positive mindset in such a negative natured world that we live in?
Whoa.
So social media tends to get abused a lot. Social media is a very powerful tool. And it could be, social media can fix every problem that we have. The problem is we use it for the wrong reasons. People are so quick to pull out their phone and record two people fighting and post it, but they'll scroll right by a St. Jude post. So I always wanted to kind of use social media for the right reasons. Now, am I flawed? Absolutely. Have I made mistakes? Absolutely. Have I entertained stuff that I shouldn't have given a second thought to? I'm human and I'm not perfect. But one thing I could say about my Twitch community is they are such gorgeous bastards. Every fucking one of them. Guys like, and I know they're going to go back and watch this, and I'm not going to, there's no way I can shout out all of them.
No.
But guys like Bazooka Joe, guys like KF Freak, guys like Radcore, who is another amazing content creator that everybody should know. Guys like Rebel Cowboy and Mr. Midwest, who's currently serving overseas right now in the United States Air Force, but still comes in and supports the channel. Because of all of these people and so many more, we have been able to do amazing things. You talk about the Red Cross. This year, we raised $4,864 for the American Red Cross. Last year, in the month of December alone, we raised nearly $4,000 for the Toys for Tots. Sledges community, they fed 10,500 families with the money they raised that they donated to the California Food Bank. They just raised money for the battered women's shelter. And that just goes to show the strength of social media when you use it for the right reasons. And when you surround yourself with the right people. I firmly believe you are the direct sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with the most. If you surround yourself with bullshit, you're going to be bullshit. If you surround yourself with good people, you're going to be a good person. That's why you never see CEOs hanging out with crackheads. Just saying. But I am so grateful for the community that I did not build. I had so much help. My Twitch community isn't a reflection of me. It's a reflection of everybody who's in it. I'm just a guy with a camera. The viewers make it a community. The viewers make it a stream. The viewers make it an experience. When you come into my Twitch channel for the first time and you leave that first comment, everybody's like, hey, welcome to the stream. Thanks for being here. We're so happy to have you. Join our Discord, get involved. And it's a very welcoming community. And what I found was people long for that welcoming community. The problem is there's so many bullshit communities out there who, if you disagree with the host, you're banned. If you don't share the same viewpoints, you're banned. I love when people disagree with me. I love when people want to debate me. And it's not for malice reasons. If Panda comes into my chat and I say, I didn't like The Undertaker, which that's a shoot, I didn't.
I agree.
But let's just say for the argument's sake, he loved him and he goes, well, I really enjoyed him. Okay, now he can tell me why he liked him. I can tell him why I didn't like him. And we both walk away with a different viewpoint. That's the best part about this, is we're able to talk to each other and interact with each other. Everything doesn't have to be a goddamn fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm going to piggyback off that same question and delve a little bit deeper with this. So as so many people have seen on both of our both of our Twitters and on our TikToks, our challenges for McAfee, and that's a whole other subject in itself. But besides,
how fun is it?
Dude, it's such a ball.
It's so fun.
Like, and the fact that he's interacted and Tone's interacted and he does not like me, but I don't give two shits. Like, besides for the McAfee thing, besides for American Red Cross, what's next for you?
So this is a little bit more of a long-term goal, because it could happen next month. It could happen next year. I don't know. But I really want to make partner on Twitch. I want to become a Twitch partner. I want to be able to have a bigger audience, because as a partner, your content gets circulated more. And you've been in my chat. You've seen the community that we have. We need more communities like that. Yeah. And the more that gets circulated, and you see, the thing is, everybody will look at it and they'll be like, oh, he wants to make partner so he can make more money. Okay, yeah, that is a part of it. But what it really comes down to is, if I become a partner on Twitch, that's a win for everybody. For the simple fact, if I'm a partner on Twitch and then I raid my buddy Radcore every day for 30 days, now he's got the numbers where he can be a partner. Now he can give his family a better life. If I make partner and then he makes partner, now I'm rating another guy and he's rating another guy every day for 30 days. Now those two made partner. Now us four, we're all partners. We're rating 4 other people. Then we're rating 8 other people. Then we're rating 16 other people. And it becomes infectious. And we can really highlight these great content creators. And we all know this, dealing with social media. There are a lot of bad content creators out there.
I plead the fifth.
The only way you stop these bad ones, you have to highlight the good ones. So me making partner is the first domino of many that we're going to knock the fuck over. and we're just going to keep going.
Kind of going back to your belt thing. I see you got some belts back there.
I might have a couple.
He's the resident belt guy on TikTok.
Yeah. So that's why I want to ask you this question. What's the favorite belt you have in your collection, and what is the most beautiful belt ever made?
Okay, so my favorite one in my collection, I have a white strap big gold championship. And the reason it is my favorite, me and my wife, we were in Savannah, Georgia. We were there for St. Patrick's Day, and we were going to a concert at a bar that I used to work at. The concert was a good friend of mine by the name of Chris Bandy. He's a country music artist. He's on TikTok. Make sure you guys check him out. Great music. But anyway, so we were going to his concert, but we had a few hours to kill, so we ended up going by this comic book store. And in this comic book store, I saw that belt. Kind of talked to the guy. It was missing a nameplate. The big gold was never on a white strap, so it wasn't really accurate. Which I was just splitting hairs at this point, trying to get a better deal.
Fucking white. It's white. Give me a discount.
So we ended up agreeing on a price, and I walked out with the belt. 5 hours later, I was on stage of Chris Bandy's concert, proposing to my wife in front of everybody there. So that belt will always be tied to the day I asked my best friend in the world to marry me. So that will always be my favorite belt. Out of all the belts in here, if my house caught on fire and I can only grab one of them, I'm going for that one.
Nice.
It will always be the most important belt in my collection. Always. Now for the most beautiful one.
I swear, if you grab my goddamn belt, I'm gonna be so mad at you.
You're asking me to pick my favorite child.
See, and here's the thing, Robbie. Kevin knows which one of his kids I love the most.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Bastard.
Now, I've got a couple customs, like my 10 pounds of Dusty. I love that belt. Dusty Rhodes is tied for my favorite wrestler of all time. It's him and Edge. And I love that belt. I do. But I've got my custom HeelKevin Army, my custom Wrestling Review Society. But if I have to pick one, and this has been a holy grail belt of mine, and I just very recently got it. I had one before, but it was dog shit. The one I have now is ring accurate. I almost don't want to touch it because it's so pretty.
Is that big? Is that the Hogan, the Hogan 84? Yeah. Yep. It's a beautiful belt. We have a friend, Kelly Steen. She has that one, and I always marvel when
I know Kelly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've promoted against Kelly.
Oh wow. Oh, that's trippy. I never knew you were in the community like that. Yeah, that's a beautiful belt, dude. I think that might be my next one.
You know a guy who can help.
Hit me up. I know a guy.
Yeah, I know. I heard.
So, Kev, I'm going to throw a little bit of a haymaker as we start to wind down, because I know you do a lot of independent wrestling interviews and stuff like that. But besides for Edge, if you could give me 3 professional wrestlers across the planet right now that you wish you could interview, who would they be?
James Storm. He's number 1.
Really? Why?
He's just a fucking cool guy.
He is a great dude.
He's so fucking cool. Like, I don't know what it is. I've always loved James Storm. Always been a fan of James Storm. Dan Lambert was on the list, but I got to interview him. I've got to interview him already. I've been able to interview Nick Aldis, Eric Bischoff, and several others. Chris Van Vliet was one for a long time because he's kind of like my hero. He's kind of who I look up to. I got to interview him. Not only did I get to interview him, but I got to help him when COVID happened and he had to start doing virtual interviews. I kind of told him about StreamYard. But anyway, so Number one on that list is James Storm, just because he's fucking cool. Number two would have to be, I'm going to get heat for this. I don't give a fuck. Cody Rhodes.
Yo.
People can say he's overrated. People can say he's whatever. Fuck off.
He's hot right now, dude. The dude's smoking hot right now, and he's
Cody,
been hot for a while.
I don't agree with the way that WWE is jamming him down everybody's throats, but I do love Cody Rhodes. Absolutely love Cody. And then number three, one person that I would love to interview just to absorb any knowledge that this person has, because I think you could look at the world of professional wrestling and you might find somebody who has as much knowledge as this person, but I doubt you'll find somebody who has more. I would love to sit down and talk to William Regal.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude, that would be a trove of info right there, dude.
I would love to. I don't think there's enough time in the day or space in my brain. I mean, let's be honest. That man's forgot more about pro wrestling than we're ever going to know.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just to be able to listen to his stories and why he did this and why this made sense or just anything, going back to his bare knuckle fight days. I don't think there's any more knowledge out there than William Regal.
Well, kind of keeping on with this topic of podcasting, Panda and I, our buddy Nick, dude, we've interviewed about 30 people, a little over, close to 40 people since we started doing this podcast a little over a year ago, and we've had some interviews, and most of them all have gone really well, but we've had a few that have totally gone off the rails, man. So can you give us a little insight in some of the podcasts that you did that maybe didn't go the way you wanted to?
Get ready for this. Fuck Alex Riley.
Really? A-Right?
Fuck that motherfucker.
I haven't heard the name A-Right in a long time, dude. I got to hear this.
It was really weird. Huge shout out to Royce Isaacs. Royce Isaacs, great interview. We had a little bit of a time zone miscommunication. And he felt so bad about it. He made the time to make the interview up to me, and we had a great time. Huge shout out to him. But with Alex Riley, so I send Alex Riley the email, and he agrees to do the interview. And I'm super pumped about it. I'm ready to go. I know that when I interview him, I don't want to ask any questions about, like, obviously there's the WrestleMania 27 questions with the Miz, but I don't want to make it about a Miz interview. I want it to be about him.
Yeah.
So I came up with this answer tree that was all about him and the things that he did in the movies that he was in and the movies that nobody knew that he had casted for because it wasn't released to the public yet, but I fucking knew.
Right. You did your research. You did your research.
Did my homework. Before I interview anybody, I always ask 3 questions. Same 3 questions. Everybody gets them. 1, my interviews normally last about an hour. Is that okay with you? Or do we need to shrink it down? He goes, no, that's fine. Number 2, is there anything at all that is off limits? You don't want me to even bring it up? No, I'll talk about anything. I'll pretty much talk about whatever you want. And then I always tell them the third thing I always say, if for whatever reason you have to end the interview, if you need a hard out, I always had a hand signal that would look seamless to the crowd, but I knew that was them telling me, hey, something came up, I gotta go. And all it is I would tell them, look, if you need a hard out for any reason, just one of these right here, and that tells me, hey, we got to wrap it up. He's got to go. Those are the 3 things I always cover. So we get into the interview, and whenever you interview somebody, as you guys know, when you ask a question, you want the details. You want them to elaborate. You want them to run with it. You want the long answers, because then through those long answers, they say something interesting. You can now go down that avenue. Then you can make a left down this avenue. Then you can go down this dark alley. Then you come out here and you end up somewhere you never knew you were going to be, but you love the fact that you got there.
Yeah.
Every fucking question. Yes, no, yes, no. I don't want to talk about that. I'm not talking about that. No, I'm not doing that. No. I went through 7 pages of notes. Or no, sorry. I went through 3 pages of notes in 7 minutes.
Oh no.
I did my homework. I did my research. I made sure it didn't revolve around the Miz. It was about him. I didn't want to ask him about his entrance music, because everybody always asks him about his music. I didn't ask him about the John Cena shit. I didn't ask him about any of that. And I went through 3 pages of notes in 7 minutes. Oh, and here's the other one. This one really pissed me off. How easy is fucking StreamYard to use?
Fucking real pretty easy.
The first thing this man says to me when he pops up in the backstage area, as I'm getting ready to do, hey, thanks for being on. Here's my 3 questions. The first thing he says to me, wow, you might want to change your platform. This is really confusing. Not to mention, if he would have just got on and talked to me, I'd have been able to clear this up way easier, because it took him about 20 minutes to get into the backstage area. And come to find out, I wasn't even talking to him. I was talking to his agent, who wasn't relaying the messages properly, and that's why he couldn't get into the back room. I ended up having to take a screenshot or a video of exactly how to get into StreamYard and send it to him so he can then follow it step for step, and he still fucked it up. And then you want to criticize me about the platform that I use, even though everybody I've ever had do it, including Tim Storm, who is a bona fide country boy who doesn't bother with technology, who admittedly himself, this isn't me shooting at him, I love Tim Storm, but says I don't fuck with computers, I don't know how they work. He was able to do it with no fucking issue.
Dude, Bushwhacker Luke did it with no problem.
Yeah, fuck Alex Riley.
What do you really think?
Okay. All right. Let's flip the coin. Let's end this a little more positively as we start transitioning out. What's the best one you had then?
Oh, there were so many, dude.
Give me 3.
So many. Chris Van Vliet.
Coming soon.
Just because he was so cool.
I believe it.
He always answers my messages. If there's ever any questions I have about how I can do something better, he's always there. Every time we meet in person, he always remembers me. We handshake. Just a very genuine person. So Chris Van Vliet's up there. Vampiro. Vampiro taught me so much about production, about how to present myself. Before I interviewed Vampiro, my interviews looked like this.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. All this shit you see behind me is because of Vamp. The fact that my name has been visible this entire time is because of Vamp. All this stuff back here, everything you see behind me, it is meant to grab your attention. If you're scrolling through Twitch and you don't know jack shit about me, but you know you like the Avengers, you're going to come in to talk about that gauntlet and the shield. You don't know jack shit about me, but you love Power Rangers. You're going to come in to talk about that helmet. You don't know me, but you love wrestling belts. You're going to come in to talk about the belts. Everything behind me is designed to pull you in. That was a lesson for Vampiro. And number 3 would have to be Matt Riddle. It has to be Matt Riddle.
My favorite wrestler right now.
I did not like Matt Riddle. I was not a fan of Matt Riddle.
Now,
But
when
you
was
got-
this? Was this MMA transition or was this full-blown evolved Matt Riddle?
No, this is WWE United States Champion Matt Riddle.
I just
Wow.
need the transition so people understand.
Yeah, this is while he was United States Champion. It's still up on my YouTube channel right now. But anyway, so as you guys know, there are going to be times where your audience wants you to interview somebody that you might not necessarily like, somebody that you might not necessarily want to interview, but you have an obligation to your audience to at least try to give them what they want. At the time, it was Matt Riddle. I had the opportunity to interview Matt Riddle, so I took the opportunity. And like I said, I was not a fan. I did not like him, and I was not a fan. I had messaged Matt earlier that day, and I asked him, I said, hey, is an hour time limit good for you, yes or no? He said, can we make it 45 minutes? It's like, hey, man, no problem. Matt Riddle comes onto the show before we went live, and he asked me if I have kids. Yeah, I've got 4 boys. Do they know who I am? Yes, they do. This man spent 30 minutes talking to my kids, just hanging out, bullshitting with them, making their day special.
Yeah.
Now, in my mind, I'm like, I've only got 45 minutes with this guy, and we just used 30 of them sitting here talking to the kids. When that interview went live, he gave me an hour and 10 minutes from the time we went live, not to mention the 30 minutes he just spent talking to my kids. And then after the interview, I always ask, was there anything I could have done better? He stayed another 20 minutes just bullshitting with me. He was so giving. He was so caring. He was so present. He was so relatable. Just a very nice, genuine, kind-hearted human being. And that day, I became a fan of Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
That day, I became a fan of Matt. I've been a fan of Matt ever since. And I will never forget what he did, not just for me, not just for my community, but for my kids.
Yeah.
That was the best thing ever. So somebody that I didn't like ends up being one of my favorite interviews of all time, and I've been a fan ever since.
Yeah, dude, that's an awesome story, dude. Thanks for sharing that with us, dude. I guess my final question is going to be, what advice do you have for anybody that maybe wants to follow in your footsteps and do their own YouTube or be their own content creator for Twitch, TikTok, or any of these platforms? What advice do you got for them?
So when it comes to creating content, the biggest mistake I always see people make is they care about their views. Now, don't get me wrong. Views are very important, but views will happen on their own. Views will grow organically. You cannot control the views. What you can control is having good video, having good audio, and being professional. You focus on the shit you can control, and views are going to happen on their own. I just hit 2,700 followers on Twitch. There was a time where I was struggling to get 15. There was a time I struggled to get 50, to get 100. And then it just happens. So don't worry about the views. Worry about the things you can control, like having good video, having good audio. Nobody wants to hear this the whole time you're live. So if you have static or if you have popping or whatever, invest the equipment. If this is something you want to do, get you a good microphone, get you a good camera. Make sure you look and sound the part. If you don't look the part, if you don't sound the part, nobody's gonna give you credit for being the part. You have to look like you want to do this.
Yeah.
On top of that, stream what you are passionate about. If it's wrestling, stream wrestling. If it's Legos, do videos of you building Legos. If it's football, stream football, because at the end of the day, your community will feed off of your energy. The highest point of the energy is going to be from you. So if you automatically come into a stream not giving a shit about what you're doing. If you come in at 30%, nobody can care any more than 30%. Nobody can give you more than 30%. But if you come into something at 100%, now they can give you 100% because they're going to feed off your energy. Stream what you're passionate about. Make sure your presentation looks good. And don't worry about your goddamn views. Don't let anybody tell you just because you get 20 views or you get 5 views that you're doing something wrong. It's a fucking grind, and it ain't fucking easy. It's not. If you think you're going to start a YouTube channel and overnight you're going to have 1 million followers, yeah, it happens for some people. But for the majority, for the other 99.999999% of us, it doesn't happen that way. It's a grind. It is a journey, not a sprint. But sooner or later, you will turn around, you will look down, and you will see that finish line is a lot closer than that starting line is. The last thing I'll say, do not allow other people to dictate your definition of success. Everybody wants to say, oh, well, what is success? Success, just like anything else, is subjective. If your goal in life is to have 10 followers on YouTube and you get 11 followers, you are a massive fucking success because you did what you set out to do. You might not be a success in other people's eyes. That don't fucking matter. It is your definition of success. It is what makes you happy, not them. Do not ever for 1 second let somebody else tell you what your definition of success should be. Find out what your definition is and fucking go after it. Don't worry about my definition might not be yours and your definition might not be mine. That's okay. That doesn't mean one of us is wrong. It just means we have different goals for ourselves, and that is perfectly okay.
Yeah, man. Oh, you just got a new follower on Twitter. Yeah.
Let's go.
So, Kev, when we wind this down, we always give the guests full screen. You can plug your socials. You can plug anything you've got coming up.
Oh,
you can say whatever piece you want to say.
You're about to fuck up.
I know. But, Kev, Jesus Christ, floor is yours.
Guys, I have had such a blast sitting here on the Uncutt podcast with my good friend Panda, and I just made a new friend with Mr. Ponytail and sunglasses inside, sunglasses inside at night for some reason. I don't know what that's all about.
Woo!
It's his shtick. But anyway, guys, if you enjoy my content, if you enjoyed the podcast tonight, you can find me at HeelKevin1 on every platform: TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, most importantly on Twitch. Not just for me, but for you guys, because if you're wrestling fans, which if you're listening to this show, you most likely are a wrestling fan. But if you're a wrestling fan, you love these things behind me: championship belts. We give belts away for free all the time. We have belt raffles where you can get one of these belts for $5. So there's a lot of really cool stuff for you to be involved with over on our Twitch channel. And also, I got to give a huge shout out to my sponsor at the Twitch, the Wrestling Trivia app. You guys can download it on Apple. You can download it on Android. It's the Wrestling Trivia app. If you're like me, you have a lot of friends who think they know more than you about wrestling. This app was made by wrestling fans for wrestling fans. It has over 11,000 questions, features over 30 superstars, and they're adding more every single day. And by downloading this app, you can finally settle the debate between you and your friends on who knows the most about wrestling knowledge. Wrestling Trivia app, make sure you guys download it, use it. It's a phenomenal app. Huge shout out to my boys who created it. Love you guys. And that's all I got, man.
Kevin, I love you. Thank you for being with us, brother. I'll be ready to see you in Indy soon. Huh? And
What they got?
Let's fucking go, McAfee. Let's go, McAfee.
It's fucking time.
I'm ready, McAfee.
Fucking time.
I don't think he's ready.
I don't think McAfee knows what he's going to be dealing with in Indy.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest on a shoot here, guys. I'll just be dead honest. Pat McAfee, if by any chance you watch this, you most likely will win. But I guarantee you it'll be the funnest game of golf you've ever had in your life.
If that ain't the goddamn truth. On that note, for Robbie, for Kevin, once again, thank you. I love you, brother. Thank you for being with us.
Seriously, man.
For
Thank you.
myself, thank you for being on here. Dad, we'll hopefully see you next week. Get feeling better.
You're not, I thought you were talking about Zach. I was like, don't bring him on here.
No. Zach's already been on here. Zach was here like early on. Robbie, our guest for next week, you want to run that?
Oh man, dude, do I ever. You were a great guest, HeelKevin. Next week, I hope this guy can keep up with you, man. I can't even believe I'm going to say this right now. Next week live, we're going to be interviewing the madman from Sudan, the one and only, the Abdullah the Butcher, a legend, dude. We interviewed Sabu, and I told Sabu, I go, you know, there's certain people that transcend the business, you know, and Sabu, Bruiser Brody, and Abdullah the Butcher are the top three people that I put in that category.
Can I give you guys a little snippet?
By all means.
You guys are going to sit down with Abdullah the Butcher.
Yep.
You have to ask him about the night in Puerto Rico with NWA Hall of Famer Iceberg.
He's already writing the note right now.
Got it.
Abdullah the Butcher,
Puerto Rico,
and Iceberg in Puerto Rico. I'm sure they had many, so I'm trying to narrow it down without giving too much away. But the night shit went sideways in Puerto Rico with Iceberg. It's a phenomenal story.
Definitely going to throw that at him, dude. All right, guys. So I guess we'll
shout out to Iceberg, Edward Chastain, good friend of mine, NWA Hall of Famer. He told me the story. You guys are going to love it.
Totally sick. All right, man.
Oh shit! I got to do this, don't I, Robbie?
Yeah, that's the deal.
Son of a bitch, Robbie. How many clicks is it?
Dude, no, you do it because you go. I have to hit the button.
No, I'm not doing the clicks.
Will you do one?
Yep. No, I'm not throwing them up. Kevin, you gonna throw the guns up for him because I'm not doing it.
Like real guns or like
no?
Like what's
no? No, you just gotta throw up one for each click. Come on, man, you can do it. I just say, hey, I say, HeelKevin, how many clicks, and then you go 1 and 2.
Oh well, I need my second gun. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, you can do it your style.
Robbie, you just got fired on this one. This is not position.
Yo, HeelKevin.
What's up?
How many clicks?
Bang bang.
Ah.